Almost forgot to. So welcome everyone. My name is Stacy Turner, and Alex and I are so thankful that you're here tonight. And we want to share some things with you that we've learned over the last couple of years, 20 years from me, which is crazy, 20 years ago that I was shared this information with a complete stranger when we lived in South Florida. So it's really been a game changer for us. And Alex, will you kind of share with us what got you excited? Like, why did you invite your friends on here tonight?
Sure. So I was just feeling like really desperate for some solution to the constant cycle of daycare bugs. Once I became a foster mom, as a single foster mom, I was like, I can't miss any more work. What am I going to do to keep these kids healthy? And Stacy presented me with Juice Plus, and having struggled with like gut health my whole life and being sick a lot, I was like, oh, maybe this is finally something that will help me, something that will increase my energy and help me from getting sick so much. And I've only been on it since beginning of January, but I've already seen a decrease in the amount of like time that we have colds. We've been sick a lot less. I haven't missed as nearly as much work, which has been huge, because I just was like totally out of sick days. In fact, I'm still working on building up my deficit. But I'm just really passionate about helping people feel better because it's been such a game changer for our family.
Yeah, I love that, Alex. And I love, exactly what you said. Just help people feel better. When we know better, we can do better. When we do better, we feel better. When we feel better, we can do even better. And I always say, 20 years ago, I wasn't feeding our family unhealthy on purpose. I really just didn't know. I didn't know about the connection between disease and nutrition. I didn't understand about prevention of disease, much less treatment of disease. And I just kind of thought it was all based on genetic. And so I'm going to share my screen so I can share some slides with you guys. Give me just a second to pull that up. And I just want you to be thinking, what got you here? I know that Alex is such a sweetheart. If Alex asked me to be on anything, I'd be like, yes, what can I do to help you? She's such a giver. And so I love that side of her sweetheart. And so if that was the reason why, I understand that too. But maybe there's something that you're personally dealing with, something that you've just struggled with, a health issue for yourself, somebody in your family, a loved one, a child. Maybe you're just wanting to live a healthier lifestyle and looking for solutions with that. And that's really what we hope to bring to you. So just think about that. What is it that you would like to get out of this evening? And at the end, if I don't cover that, please just ask us the questions. We've got some great resources to be able to share with you. And I want to make sure that you feel like you get the information you were looking for. So we're going to talk about some health statistics in America. And this was pre-COVID. So I think these statistics have already changed drastically in the last 2 to 3 years. So 1 in 4 people will die of heart disease. 1 in 2 women and 1 in 3 men will develop cancer. 1 in 3 will have diabetes by 2050, and 1 in 5 children is obese. That's kind of different than the classroom that I grew up as a child. There was one chubby kid in my class, K through 6th grade, and just one child. And now 1 in 5 children is obese. If you ask a kindergarten teacher, hey, what are these kids bringing to school? They will tell you they really are shocked. It's not even food. And then think about what, middle school kids eat. I know I ate terrible in junior high. And I think, like, how was I even expecting my body to run on that? And really, our children are more harmed by poor diet than by exposure to drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. I mean, that's kind of staggering. We don't think of food as being more dangerous than drugs, alcohol, and tobacco. There's all kinds of campaigns out there to like keep kids off of drugs and to teach them not to drink. And yet what their diet is, what they're eating is going to have even a bigger impact than all of those combined. And that really is because our food quality is decreasing. When you think about what we eat, a lot of times it's processed food. So in a bag, through a drive-through line, even what's in the grocery store, everything that's in the middle of that grocery store is processed food. That means it has preservatives and synthetic vitamins. All boils down to, honestly, less nutrition, right? So we want to shop the perimeter of the grocery store. If you think about it, if the electricity went out in a store, everything in the middle, you could come back like months later, probably even a year later, and eat the Cheez-Its, or whatever it is in the colorful box. And, that's really not food, because the real food on the perimeter of that grocery store, the produce, the dairy, the meat, the freezer section, all of that food would actually be bad within a couple of days. And that's because it really does break down. Bacteria is able to break it down. I always say, if it won't mold or sprout, throw it out. So if you have bread that you can have like forever and it doesn't mold, it's called Wonder Bread for a reason. But if bacteria can't eat it, like if bacteria can't break it down, our body can't either. And so real food will decay. And so if you kind of just think of that, if it won't rot or sprout, throw it out and try to eat as much real food as you can. That's going to mean more trips to the grocery store, but you can do Walmart pickup, which I love because I actually spend way less and my grocery bill if I do Walmart pickup, because I'm not shopping through the aisle and putting stuff in that's actually marketed to me to get me to buy it. So having a menu, a plan of what you're going to fix that week, doing some meal prep, that can really increase your produce, increase the real food that you're eating. We call that God food. It's what he gave us for our bodies to work proper. It's just, we tend to rely on this because we're busy. We just need something quick, fast, easy. Kids are more likely to eat it, and it's okay every once in a while, but sadly we're kind of all eating like we're at a birthday party. Think about when you were a kid and you went to the birthday party, you got a soda and you got pizza and maybe some chips and cake, and really a lot of times that's what kids are eating. Now, we as adults may not look at it the same way, but if you think back of what you ate over the last couple of weeks, how much of that was really through real food. And more than 50% of what Americans eat is processed. So we're going to focus on fruits and vegetables, because the news isn't that fruits and vegetables are good for you. It's that they are so good for you, they could save your life. That was in Time magazine in 2003. That was about the time I started hearing about all of this. And I was really surprised by that. And it kind of made me pause and think, like, if I really know the value of fruits and vegetables, that they're so powerful, they could save my life, then what am I doing to make sure that I'm getting enough of them in every day? I believe that a seatbelt could save my life. And so when I get in the car, I put that safety belt on. I have a strong belief in that. And I don't expect to get in a car accident, but I do know that there's some protection there if I do get into an accident. And so that's really how I think of fruits and vegetables. They're a safety net to the genetic code that we're born with, and to the lifestyle that we lead, and to the, fruits and vegetables, the processed food that we may be eating and just not getting enough of the real food into our diets. And that is really, well said, in that 75% is disease is preventable with good nutrition. I've heard guys as high as 85%. Like, that's a pretty staggering number, because that's not what I was told. I always really just thought it had to do with, what impact your genetic code was. So that would sound like, it just runs in our family. My mom has diabetes. My grandmother had diabetes. My aunt had diabetes. So therefore, I'm more likely to get diabetes. And it's just something that people expect, and they get used to it. And so they just kind of are like, yeah, we have diabetes in our family. And that may be true, that genetic code is there, but our lifestyle is going to flip that switch on, that genetic code on, but it can also suppress it. It can turn it off. It's really fascinating. I'm going to talk a bit about that in a few minutes. But that's why we need to be eating 7 to 13 servings a day of fruits and vegetables, raw, fresh fruits and veggies. A serving size is slightly smaller than the size of your fist. Think of that. So 7 to 9 for women, 9 to 13 a day for men. And we're not talking just to thrive, to survive, right? Like none of us are eating 7 to 13 servings a day. I very rarely meet anyone that does, but, that we're still alive. So we're still surviving, but are we really thriving? And I've had people say, I haven't eaten fruits and vegetables my whole life. Like, why should I start now? I'm in my 50s and I'm still alive. And I'm like, yeah, but it's catching up to you. It will catch up to you. Like your body can only go that long. And 50 years was like pretty shocking to me that she'd gone that long without eating. Like she said, if it's green, it does not touch my lips. And I was like, man, like how much better would she feel though if she was getting that nutrition into her diet, and what could be prevented in her life? And so athletes need to be eating even more because they're burning more energy, and they're creating more oxidation, or like a smoke in their body that needs antioxidants from fruits and vegetables. So why do we have to eat that many? One of the reasons is because it's picked way before the nutrition fully develops. So the longer it's on the plant or the vine, the more nutrients it has. And then the further away it gets from that vine, the less nutrients it has, the less impact it has. And, a lot of our produce is picked before it's ripe, and then it's transported thousands of miles because there's not banana trees in Artesia, New Mexico. I wouldn't have the option to eat a banana, and it has to be picked so ripe unripe, so that by the time it gets to us, it's not rotten. So 90% of us just are not eating enough servings. And I wonder if that number is even lower, because that was from 2017. And we just don't eat a variety from the rainbow. We tend to eat the same 5, like the same colors, or we tend to buy the fruits and vegetables that our family will eat and not really venturing out. So the more color, the more nutrient it has, the better. And most of the time people know that they're not getting the nutrients from the food that they eat. So they tend to rely on a vitamin to bridge that gap, right? Like we've been told, take your vitamins, and 70% of Americans are trying to fill that gap with a multivitamin, whether that's a children's Flintstone vitamin or like a women's one a day, or really any of them. There are only 9 known vitamins out there, and those are chemically reproduced and put into a vitamin pill. If I were to crush up that vitamin right there on the screen, one like that, and then had you taste it, you would be like, I don't know, it tastes like a vitamin. You wouldn't be recognizing, oh, that's orange, because the vitamin C that's in there is not from an orange. It's a chemical rendition of vitamin C found in an orange. And so it's chemical vitamin A powder, chemical vitamin K, chemical vitamin C compressed together in that pill form. And it's a mega dosed nutrient because your body only absorbs about 8% of that. Have you guys ever taken a vitamin and your urine changes color or changes smell? And that's because your body's having to filter that chemical, and your liver and your kidneys have to filter that out. And so if your body can't use it, hopefully it flushes it, which is what happens with most of them. But if they're fat soluble vitamins, your body can actually store them, and you can get to a toxic level. So if you are going to take vitamins, then, there's people that take a whole handful of them because this article said to take this one, and this friend said to take this one, and this doctor said to take this one, and they just heard on the radio that this one is a good one. And, by the end of the day, they have this whole handful that they're piecing together, hopefully, what their body needs, but it can be a huge chemical load. So if you are going to take multivitamins, then I would say you really need to be monitored by a doctor that is looking at your blood and looking at what those levels are. Even vitamin D, which isn't a vitamin. It's actually a hormone, and you can have too much of that, or your body's not absorbing that form of it. So if your blood levels always stay low and you're not getting, it's not getting absorbed, it's not getting higher, then you're just not, it's not bioavailable. Your body's not able to use it. So, it really has just a few of those isolated nutrients, where an apple has over 11,000, 10 to 11,000 phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, plant compounds that make up one piece of produce. That's just one example, so multiply that by the 9 to 13 we're supposed to eat. It's tiny amounts in a lot of different formats. So a lot of different nutrients versus just a few isolated chemical nutrients. So it's always better to get your nutrition from a food source. And really, research shows that isolated vitamins do not prevent disease, and they can actually do more harm than good. So there's not evidence that they prevent heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. But if you start looking up the research on whole food, like fruits and vegetables, plants, their protective benefits, like it just goes on and on and on. There's so much research out there. It's really pretty encouraging to an apple a day keeps the doctor away. There's something to that. I don't know exactly who said that first, but they were definitely onto something with that. So how do we bridge that gap? We can say, okay, eat more fruits and vegetables. And that just being more mindful and understanding the reason behind it definitely will keep us more alert even this week. I think it does for me. And that's one of the reasons why I keep doing these health talks, because I need the reminder. It's easy to just get busy and running through the day, running through the week, and you're like, how many plants did I eat? What did I eat? And so how do we bridge that gap between what we should be eating and what we may be eating? Or what about what your kids are eating and what they should be eating? I quickly found out with my son, it didn't matter if I put fruits and vegetables in front of him, like the little guy wouldn't eat them. He would spit them out. And I can't force feed a 19-month-old, it didn't work. And so with him, I learned a lot about this when he was about a year old, and we started to see some changes in his health just from getting more fruits and vegetables in him. But with my girls that were born after him, very different. And I could get them very easily to eat fruits and vegetables. And so I want to share with you this one simple change that we made. Alex alluded to this at the beginning. She talked a little bit about, said Juice Plus, but if you're unaware of what it is these fruits and vegetables and these berries and grapes. So 10 fruit, 10 veggies, 10 berries and grapes. And if you look up the colors on this page here, it's vibrant reds and oranges and dark greens and dark purples. I love a lot of these. I'm not opposed to any of these. Okay, a raw cranberry. I don't know if you guys have eaten a raw cranberry before. You put that thing in your mouth and you're like, you want it out. It's sour and it's bitter and it's sweet all at the same time. It's the weirdest thing. I only did it once, but outside of that, pretty much all the rest of this I could eat no problem. Maybe not the lemon peel, but I'm not opposed to all of this, but I don't get this on my own eating it every single day. Not this wide of a variety. In fact, the only black currants I've ever seen were in a jelly. I've never seen in a form that you could buy the berries and eat them. But there's protective benefits to the rainbow. Red produce has a different method of operation in your body than green ones do. And it's the synergy of all of those thousands of nutrients in each of those pieces of produce that really makes such the impact that it is. And so a lot of people question how is Juice Plus made? So we're going to watch this 2-minute video, and we can watch and see how it's made. And then I'll come back and share a little bit more.
The fact that we actually grow a lot of these products very close to the factory, and we can preserve the freshness. They can be harvested and processed within just a couple hours of when they come out of the field, as opposed to maybe some of the produce you might buy in the store where it has to go through trucking and shipping and a lot of different steps to be available to you. These processes that we do are done just within a few hours of when the product's harvested.
From the farm through our plant, the fresh product actually only takes about 6 hours. When the product arrives at our farm processing plant, the product is tumbled, washed, and cleaned. The clean product is then laid out over the processing belt and slowly moved through sub-zero air. When we're doing that, we're able to freeze the product and preserve all the freshness of the product just as if it was from the field.
The sooner you can lower the temperature and control the temperature, the more you can lock in the nutrients.
When Juice Plus is looking for nutritional quality, color is very important.
Most people associate a dark red cranberry as a sign of the ripeness of that fruit.
Freshness is very important. There's a very short amount of time from when they're harvested to when they're frozen, locking in the freshness and nutrients.
While we're producing the Juice Plus powders, they have very high standards for the purity of their powders, what can go into their powders. They also have tight controls over their supply lines. They know which farms it comes from, and they have a good control over that. Also, when the products are produced, they have certain steps throughout the process for safety and purity. My favorite part of working with Juice Plus is knowing that people are benefiting from what we're doing. We put a lot of work into how we grow our ingredients and how we process them so that they're safe and high quality and nutritious. It's neat to see the results of that by seeing the customers that use them and seeing their lives improved from some of the healthy ingredients and produce that we process.
I love that video because it just really does share and show how it's real produce. You know, there's more vitamin C in the peel of an orange than there is in the middle of the orange, but I never eat the peel of an orange. And so they use the seeds, the skin, you know, all of it, where we may, you know, throw the core of that apple away. So another product that we have is plant-based omega. A lot of people know that omegas are important. Like I would read how important they were for brain health and heart health, reducing inflammation and for your eyes. But I would buy like a krill fish oil or something, and I would opening the bottles and smelling the fish. And I was like, oh, it's so bad. And then if you take them and then you burp them back up, that taste and the smell, like I just would take it for a couple days and then I never took it again, and I would have wasted all of that money. So I had been taking Juice Plus for about 14 years when they came out with this all plant-based omega, and I was super excited about it just because I was like, oh good, and you don't have to taste that fish anymore. What I noticed a couple of weeks after taking it was that I was like just more calm. We were moving from Alabama here to New Mexico. I was trying to sell the house, finish out the school year. Jarrett had already moved here. You know, we had realtors coming and selling like everything because we didn't want to pay to move it across country. And like time when I should have been like super stressed, I was like handling it. And I remember thinking, that's not bothering me as much as it typically would. Like I just felt like I was more calm. And we know now from some of the research that's already come out on these omegas that it helps feed the brain, and our brain is made of fat. And I didn't realize that. So if you're eating a diet that's lower in fat, or you're just not getting good healthy fats, your brain really can suffer from that. And it shows up in things like depression, anxiety, ADD, with kids for sure, just an inability to focus, stay focused, retain information. And so feeding that healthy fat is really important to your brain. Like I said, to your heart, joint, skin, that all has to do with reducing inflammation. And I like that this is not just an omega-3 like a fish omega would be. This is omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. It's a broad spectrum of those omegas. And so this is pure and sustainable, because if you've ever looked at how they make omegas, like typical fish omegas, it's like 2 to 3 pounds of fish for just like 1 ounce of oil. And it's pretty disgusting, the whole process that it goes through. So I love that this is from a plant source. They just skipped to the fish and they went right to what the fish eat that they get their omegas from, and that's the algae. So it's a vegan capsule. It's cold pressed, so there's no heat involved in it. I even put these omegas on my face. And so for those of you that are local, Alex will tell us the date that she's going to be doing this, but they're going to do kind of like a spa night, her and my daughter Ansley. And they're one of the things they're going to show you is how to do a facial with these omegas. It's very hydrating and very helpful to things like a sunburn. It'll take the sting right out of that, even itch from mosquito bites or eczema, psoriasis, that sort of thing too. So it is a capsule that I swallow, but I also put it on my skin, which of course I would never do with a fish capsule. My husband would never let me back in bed. Can you imagine? He'd be like, get out of here. What is that smell? But we don't think about that for the omegas. And our Juice Plus Complete smoothies, if you're looking for a meal replacement, this is an all plant-based smoothie with 13 grams of protein. It's a great source of fiber. Fiber is really important for stabilizing blood sugar, but also lowering cholesterol levels. And a lot of times people don't recognize that those two are connected, but you can read some of the ingredients on here. And I had a friend say, okay, all of those great ingredients, it can't taste good. And I was like, actually, it does. It has a really creamy texture and it comes in chocolate or vanilla. You can add other things if you want to. I use almond milk, a banana with the peanut butter and chocolate, putting some peanut butter in there. That's like our family's favorite, but there's all kinds of things you can do with it, but it's a great meal replacement if you're looking for that. It's like $2.58, $2.53 a day or something like that for each shake. I mean, if I go out to lunch, I'm going to spend way more than that just on one meal alone. So this actually comes out of our food budget because we are replacing lunch or breakfast with this. My son was an athlete in high school and junior high, and I would replenish him after practice or a game with a shake within 30 minutes. That was the goal. So I had to remember to make it and take it with us. But it's really helpful for muscle retention and rebuilding. And if you have constipation issues, this is also really helpful because of that fiber. So I can't say enough good things about this. If you're local and you want to try it, we'd love to give you a sample or even mail some to you, but they're pretty darn tasty. So let's just kind of review a little bit more. Juice Plus is unique because it's not a food. No, it is a food. It's not a multivitamin. I got ahead of myself. So it's not a multivitamin. My mom's always like, do not let Stacy hear you say it's a vitamin, because I'm like, it's not a vitamin. Like, a vitamin is such a fragmented, small portion of a nutrient. Like, this is the food itself. It has a food label, it has a nutrition label, just like a bag of apples would. It's NSF certified, which means a third party looks what's on the label is in the capsules, and what's in the capsules is on the label, and that's pulled multiple times a year. It's not just a one-time thing. And this is outside of us. This is NSF, their National Sanitary Foundation. Like, my dishwasher has an NSF certification. So that really does mean a lot to have somebody else looking at that purity of the product. And it's the most researched brand name nutritional product in the world. You can even ask Siri, what is the most researched product in the world? So of course, if Siri says it is, then it must be true, right? Just teasing. But I do want to show you that we have some incredible studies that have been done at leading hospitals and universities around the world. And these are gold standard methodologies of studies. So these are randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. It's actually tested on the product itself. So when human clinical trials, when the people take the product, what are the results that they get? And then that's published in peer-reviewed medical journals, and it's never tested on animals. So these studies have been done on pregnant women at the University of Mississippi, MD Anderson Cancer Center with ovarian cancer survivors. One of the journals is the Journal of American College of Cardiology. Nemours Children's Hospital did research with overweight boys. Like, those are kind of some of the categories that, like, typically research is not done on pregnant women, on children, but because it is food, there's not it's not a safety issue with that. And they were able to do these research studies on, these different groups. Now, those that I named are such a small portion. If you like research, please dig into this side of it. You will love it. I could talk for like a whole other hour about this. I won't, but to me, this is what helped me feel confident and giving this to myself and then to my children, taking it when I was pregnant. I knew it really was safe to take. And one of the things when I started taking it, there were 7 studies that had been published. Now we have 48 peer-reviewed medical journals. It's just crazy. And I really thought, okay, I don't want to like take something and invest in it and then just a couple of months later be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I fell for that and I bought that. You know, like you've had purchases that you've thought, I can't believe I thought that that would work. And, you know, what was I thinking? And so I kind of had that in the back of my mind. But when they said they had actual research with it, 7 studies showing things like a balanced immune system and that it was bioavailable, actually got into your bloodstream, then I was encouraged by that. And so I was able to say, okay, this, you know, it's definitely something to try. Let's give it a whirl. And that gave me some confidence. And then over the years, of the other studies have come out, like lung health and healthier skin, reducing systemic inflammation. That means inflammation in your whole body, and chronic pain is inflammation. Heart health, better blood flow, better circulation, less restriction in your arteries after eating a high fat meal, you know, a balancing of the immune system. I just was really encouraged every time those studies came out, like this is an investment that's actually investing back in me. And it wasn't just relying on that research. I saw that for our family. My husband had pneumonia 4 years in a row before Juice Plus. Like he got sick with every cold that came around. It was really frustrating. And he would get a 2 or 3 week cold, and then it would be an upper respiratory infection, and then it would become pneumonia. And that was the first 4 years of our marriage. He was so sick that became just normal. It was like so common. It was normal. It was almost like a part of his, you know, personality or his character just to be sick. And he said he just got sick with all of the seasons. And we lived in Boston the first 3 years. There's 4 seasons, and about every 3 months, Jarrett was sick. But then we moved to Miami. He was still sick every 3 years. There's only 1 season in Miami. It's like summer all the time. And so I started thinking, I don't think that's what it is. And then we were introduced to Juice Plus, and I just thought, this makes sense. He really understood it even better than I did, that it wasn't a vitamin, it was whole food. And so we were willing to give it a try. What's interesting is that we weren't necessarily thinking, oh, this will help Jarrett's immune system, because remember, we had gotten used to that. We were thinking disease prevention 20 years later. We really thought, you know, how will this impact our health when we're in our 40s? Like our 40-year-old self will thank us for this. And I'm now 44, and I can tell you, I'm so thankful. I was, as a child, had strep throat all the time. I just was sick a lot. And then to have reversed that disease process, I've taken my kids to the doctor, my girls especially, 2 to 3 times their whole life. I was at the doctor's office all the time. I missed so much school. And so to have really reversed that disease process through something as simple as fruits and vegetables, because it's a 3-second health habit. Like we swallow the capsules, or they would eat their gummies when they were little. And at least I knew we had that into our body. So Dr. Du Bois says there's nothing else available any place in the world, with or without a prescription, that has been clinically proven to do what Juice Plus has been proven to do. If you even look at one of your, one medication, if you look and if they say, yeah, we have research studies on it, they might at best have 2 studies, and those were done by the pharmaceutical company themselves. All of our studies are done outside of us. These are independent of us. And so that's what gives me confidence that I can come to you guys and say, hey, this really is a legitimate product. Like this really does great things in your body. And it's not that Juice Plus cures anything. It simply fuels us with what God gave us to eat, and we just don't eat, to do what our body is designed to do. It is designed to heal and repair, but not when we're eating the standard American diet. So one of the other things I love about this company is just how generous they are. So they quickly found out, and Juice Plus has been around since 1992, 93, something like that. So I came back. Oh, well, it's going to be in 2 parts. I think it's not going to be all in one, but that's okay. I'm just glad I was like, do I hang up and try it again? But okay, thanks for hanging in here with me, guys. Let me screen share again, see if I can remember where my thought was on this one. Oh yeah, okay. The generosity of the company. The company didn't want parents to do for their kids first and not do for themselves. Cause we mamas are notorious for that, right? Like when you're on an airplane, they say if the cabin pressure changes, everybody rush around and put the masks on everyone else, especially children, and make sure everyone's got their mask on and then put yours on first, right? No? Oh, you guys have not flown in a while. They don't say that at all. They say, put yours on first and then put it on your kids, which why do they have to tell us that every time? Because that isn't what our first response is going to be. I'm going to think like, we need oxygen. He needs oxygen. If I'm not taking care of myself, how good am I to them? It's if I'm, nutrition depleted and my body is aching and I'm sick all the time and my mind is not stable, like I'm not as effective as a mom to my children. It's okay for us to do for ourselves, but what they found is that parents were ordering for the kids and not for themselves. And they said, no, this isn't going to work. We're going to give kids free Juice Plus. So when the parent orders Juice Plus, you can sponsor the child into the study, and then the child gets theirs for free. Right now, it's up to 4 years, but in May, it's turning over until they're 25. So if a child got started at age 4 is when this study starts, age 4 to age 21. 25, that's 21 years. That is like insane to me that they will give that much of the product away. So basically, just like at their cost, they're not making any income off of, or no profit off of the products that they're able to give to the kids. We as partners with Juice Plus, we contribute on behalf of the free child getting theirs. And it's something that I so happily do because I love that contribution is really making a big difference. I mean, look at these statistics. And I saw these with my husband, for sure. And then also with our kids, 60% after 1 year of taking Juice Plus were missing fewer days of school. They were taking fewer over-the-counter or prescription drugs. They're drinking more water. 66% were visiting the doctor less, consuming less fast food and soft drinks, eating more fruits and vegetables. Like, I don't know what parent you give them that list and they're like, nah, we're good. We don't want to see those things in our family. We'll pass on those. But I saw this. I saw that my kids missed way fewer school days than I did as a child. My girls went to the doctor less than our son did, our first child, and definitely less than I did. If I'm going to the doctor, I'm gonna have to pay a copay. If they miss school and I had to miss work, that would be days lost of pay. Just like Alex was saying, she didn't have any more sick days to leave, to be out of. Even over-the-counter medication, that all adds up. Cough syrup and those type of things. So to me, this was money back in my pocket. Like I got it, my kids got it for free, and all of these things, we saw the exact same things in our family. And my girls ate way more fruits and vegetables than my son. He's now 21, so he's come around and he's eating them on his own and he will eat them, but he was really the one that I was the most concerned about at the beginning. So with at least the fruits and vegetables, that's the red and green in capsule form or in gummy form. When you order that as the parent or the adult, even grandparents, then a child in your life can get the gummies or the capsules for free, depending on what age they are or what they want. So I just really, really like that. And it is in a gummy form. We call it a chewable. And there's a lot of adults that like that instead of capsules, and that's totally fine. And honestly, it's a lot of the guys that would rather have the gummies than the capsules. And it totally is fine. Like it's the same results that they get. It's just in a gummy form. So I always say, do what you'll take. If you hate taking capsules, then it doesn't make sense to order the capsules because you'll talk yourself out of taking them every time. Like your subconscious will help you forget. And then if you like gummies, you'll really like these. They have a great taste. So Juice Plus really is an affordable option. $2.60 a day. I mean, if I gave you $3 and said, okay, here's $3, go to Walmart, come back to me with as much produce as you can, like it wouldn't be that much produce. Now, I had a problem with this at the beginning because I was taking $8 bottle of vitamins from Walmart. And I was like, $8, which if you divide that out, what it's like, I don't know, 25 cents a day or something, or 267 a day. But what I had to really understand was this is produce, and there was no way that I could get this produce into my diet. And it's been something, it is so easy. We've been able to do day after day, year after year, now 2 decades later. And it was really the simplicity of that. It's free for kids. The shakes are $2.53 a day. I mean, I was at the coffee shop and got a salad. It was $10.50, and then an unsweet tea. And it was like total, I don't know, it was something like 15 something for just a salad and iced tea. And so this really can be part of your food budget that can save you money. And especially for kids, that was what we did as part of our breakfast. I would make a smoothie, divide it between the 3 of them, and then make like a muffin or scrambled eggs or something like that with it. And then the omegas are $1.08 a day, which is like $32 a month, which is very comparable to anything you're going to find in the store. So for $4, or more for a frou-frou coffee, as we called it when the kids were little, to be able to get a shake and the capsules a day for that price, I mean, that's so much more valuable, and like how much more nutrition you get from the investment on the left than you do from that drink on the right. It might make you feel happy that you got that, but it's not something that really feeds your body well at all. So we've got some amazing resources to share with you guys. When after this is over, I'll take you over to see the tower gardens that I have growing in my house. One has all strawberries and one has lettuce, like it's a salad tower. And this is a way that I can grow produce year round, and no bugs, no dirt. It waters itself, which is why mine is still alive. The rest of the plants in my house have not fared as well. I mean, even my plant hanger is missing its plant because I forgot to water it. But I always say my children are alive, so I'm better at keeping people alive than plants, right? So, but the tower gardens do great because they're on a timer. They water themselves, and I can grow all year round. You can grow in 98% less water in the desert. That's a big deal. 90% less space. You get 30% more yield and 3 times faster. So this is really, very nutritious food. It's very densely nutritious, and it tastes amazing. The herbs are so much more, just a stronger flavor. Even the lettuce has a different taste to it. So you've got both options. The Flex you can grow in and outdoor, or the Home is mostly indoor. It's got a smaller tank, 13 gallons. It's about 24 inches wide, or the Flex is wider than that, and it's a 20-gallon tank. So I'll show that to you guys in a minute. But really, we invite you to join us. Who in your life can you share this gift with? The person that introduced this to me, I didn't know her. We were complete strangers. We met at a trade show in South Florida, and she just said fruits and veggies in a capsule. And I just thought, if this is a thing, then we need this thing. And that would be really smart. And I was a little bit skeptical because it almost sounded like too good to be true, or like I just didn't know what kind of company is this? I didn't want to be sucked into something that I would end up paying for and not using, and having to cancel later or something and just regretting that I fell for it. But I fell in love with the education of this community, the doctors that do health talks that continually educate us. Some of just the top in the world, really very forward-thinking doctors. And I could tell you guys some amazing stories over the years of 20 years of taking this myself and sharing it with other people. Like, even just to know Alex is more comfortable in her own body since January. We're talking less than a month, and she's got a higher quality of life now. And that's the reason why I shared this. Everyone's got their own health issue, their own concern, what they're wanting to prevent or what they're dealing with. And there's not a disease process out there that can't be helped by better nutrition. Really, that's a pretty bold statement, but it's true. No matter what it is you're dealing with or trying to prevent, nutrition in your body is always going to be a benefit, even if it's just staying awake in the afternoons and not having to take a nap when the kids are asleep. falling asleep faster, staying asleep, getting more restful sleep. And I mean, just things that you think, how is that connected to nutrition? It absolutely is connected to nutrition. And so we invite you to join us. Maybe this makes sense to you and you're like, okay, I would like to get my family started on this, or I want to start taking it myself. Or you may be like Alex and myself. We learned this and we were like, how do I keep this to myself? How do I know about this and not tell other people? Because when you find something that you love, a movie that you're like, oh my gosh, that was such a great movie, you got to watch this, or a restaurant that you're like, that was really good food, I'm going to tell my friend about it, or a book that you love, those are fun to share, but they're not always life-changing. And this can be life-changing to someone. So I just want to encourage you to think like, who in your life could this be beneficial to? Who needs more fruits and vegetables? Who's got picky eaters? Who's dealing with a health issue? Who's just not eating enough produce on their own that we could, share this with? And I know Alex and I would be more than happy to do that. And maybe you would like to partner with us because they know you, they may not know us. Like I think about my parents. If I had told them, oh, okay, go talk to my friend, this new person that I met, we weren't even friends yet, Sharon, like she'll tell you about it. They most likely would not have, but I learned about it. And then I shared my heart with them, shared the information, and they were more receptive to hear it because they already knew me. And really that's how this works best. So I see this anytime I talk to someone, like I'm giving them like a package with a big red bow on it, because it really is a gift of education and a gift of hope, because a lot of times people have just lost that hope. And they, I've had people say, you are the answer. This is the answer to the prayer that I stopped praying. And I'm like, oh my goodness, just don't give up hope. You may have tried a lot of different things, taken a lot of, different things through the years, and been to a lot of different doctors. I know Alex's list was really pretty long of how many people she had gone to, and they were just like, it's just part, you're gonna have to get used to it. You don't have to get used to it. Disease is preventable, it's reversible too, and that's what we're here to help you guys with. So I hope this information was encouraging to you. I'm going to stop the share, and I'm actually going to stop the recording. So for anyone that wants to listen to this later, we're glad you joined us later on.